and Lex.
Two imperfect six-figure business coaches, co-founders, and friends who decided to combine our superpowers to bring to market something we wish we had when we entered the world of coaching.
A real, non-BS, intimate, and fun community built with integrity, intention, and a few glasses of wine.
In this podcast, we get real.
Real about life,
business,
relationships,
and what it really takes to find your version of success in the world of coaching. Are you ready, Lex?
I'm set, Em.
Let's coach. Hi, Lex.
Hi.
Cloud recording, huh? It's fun.
Guys, so I'm at the point with my computer where I can't record because my hard drive is full, and I can't save to the cloud because my cloud is full. And I understand this is a solvable issue, but also I haven't solved it. So here we are.
I have probably like 1,000 Zoom recordings on my local hard drive that they're updated elsewhere. I need to delete them. And then the cloud thing, I feel like Zoom is threatening us at this point. They're like, if you don't record, you will get your
followed
family.
Through on the threat for me. They've cut me off. And I went through and I deleted everything, and they're only giving me like 5 gigabytes, or don't quote me on that. Or anyways, I'm at capacity, and I was looking into upgrading, and it's the difference of like $1,000, which I'm sorry, that's not like okay, let me not even think about it decision. I'm kind of like salty, right? I'm salty. Like, don't make me pay $1,000.
I definitely think there was someone at Zoom who was like, do you understand that we keep threatening people, but we don't actually follow through? Because it'd be like, you have 1,000 million gigabytes worth of recordings and you only have like 5 allowed. And I'm like, yeah, do something about it. And then they did something
something about it. Officially. So here we are. Follow through.
Lex, I think I might do the transition today. I know. Wait for it.
Okay.
Zoom reminds me of in coaching, in putting boundaries in place and having a client that doesn't necessarily listen to the boundaries that you put into place, and having to take action against a client who might not have respected said boundaries.
Okay. Yeah. The threat is real. I liked it. What do you guys think? Should we pass the baton to Emily, or should I keep the transitions going?
You I think are like a transition coach now officially.
I coached you on how to do glorious transitions, and here is the transformation in real time happening.
I love it. I think it's wonderful. But no, in all seriousness, I think this is an important thing to talk about in client relationships and
client relations and red flags, and what to do when things aren't all sunny, glory, happy camper, unicorns and puppies.
I want puppies. Oh my gosh, that would be amazing. Puppies without claws, like all over.
Girl, come back to me. Come back to me.
Sorry, I'm back.
So let's talk about, guys, like how to deal with the red flags. And we put up a poll on our Instagram a couple of weeks ago, whenever you're listening to this, probably a month ago or so, and asked for people to what they wanted us to talk about on this show. And this request came from actually someone in our current cohort. She wanted to know, how do you say no to someone when you don't want to work with them? So upfront, before they're even your client, how do you do that in a respectful way? So Emily, I'm going to let you take the lead here. How do you say no?
Wow. I feel, first and foremost, I feel a little triggered about saying no, because it brings back like lunch vibes, going to sit at a table and someone rejecting. So there's a rejection and a mindset thing that, as the person even saying no, I need to digest to talk about this. But when you meet a client and you know this client is the right client, it is like meeting someone you want to date. It is meeting someone you want to be friends with. It's meeting someone that just feels aligned in the way that you're able to help them, and you know their energy is going to show up and they'll be able to get to the transformation that you want to deliver for them or deliver with them. When you meet someone that is a no, same thing. Energetically, you either feel zapped or you feel, for me, it's like a battery. I feel like I need to go back to my charging station typically after I meet this person, and I'm a very high energy individual. So saying no is it's a dance. It's a dance, but it's also something where you're not serving that person if you say yes. So how do you say no to someone? Typically, I like to say no to them by redirecting them in a different direction and letting them know that, based on the problems that they're bringing to my table, I won't be the best person to serve them. And so it starts with an honest confession or an honest conversation and letting them know that, this book I think is a great place for you to start to get to the path in which you want to go. Or maybe I know for a fact that this coach or this individual would be like the perfect fit with this type of energy, this type of problem, this type of person, and you can make an introduction. And I always love making introductions to people where I know that I'm like paying it forward. Even if this person isn't my person, this totally might be their person. So that's how I'd like to say no. And I'd rather be direct about it than ghost them. And then on the flip side, as someone who is, talking to a coach or whatnot, saying no to them directly versus ghosting them. Because on the coaching side, it sucks when someone doesn't tell us, are they in or not?
Agreed. I echo everything you said. The short, simple answer, and the one I use time and time again, is redirection, is being kindly honest, repeating the problem you're hearing and giving them a different solution. So that could be, to Emily's point, sending them in a more helpful direction to another coach. It could be sending them resources, or here's a place I think you should start first. An example that I have some people come to me who I know aren't even ready for my program, because that's another situation, right? So I'll send them to, I'm like, you know what, go to here's a great brand consultant I think you'd be a great fit for. Check them out, and feel free to come back like at a later date if you want to reconnect, but here are some helpful places and another helpful person in the meantime. I will say one of the biggest gifts I've given myself and our businesses, and we feel this way too with Ready Set Coach. This is a mistake we made in a few cohorts. We don't make this anymore. Is forcing that yes. The biggest gift you can say is the gift of no. It's a gift to you, and it's a gift to them. It's a gift to all.
And I'm gonna be honest about the two of us too. Like, we both have to vibe with the person because we're both going to be working. So, if Lex doesn't feel it, or if I don't feel it with someone, it's a conversation that needs to kind of, gosh, I'm bringing it back to dating. It's like bringing someone into our throuple. Like, we need to make sure so inappropriate. I'm sorry, guys.
But so accurate.
But so accurate. Like, we need to be able to mesh with them and meld with them, and we need to be able to speak their language, because if I speak their language, that's great, but that's not what that's not what they're signing up for. They're signing up for both of our languages. And that's been in any relationship, that's been discussion, and that's been a conversation that Lex and I have had to walk through and learn and navigate. Especially, we get stronger at trusting our guts as as the cohorts go on.
And it's not easy, right, to say no to money. I think another thing too, if you guys are doing a group program and you have some people already enlisted, evaluating for the group at large, because there is something to be said about letting someone into a sacred space that isn't a right fit. You're going to feel that. They're going to feel that. Everyone's going to feel that. It's going to bring a different energy to the room, and it's going to affect the overall experience. So be kind to those you are working with, to yourself, and to the person at the other end of that Zoom call or phone call or email chain, and just part ways respectfully. So own the power of no. Now let's talk about, you think they're great, so you say yes, and then you start working together, and we're going to talk through a few different things that can go wrong. The first one on the table is, what happens if very quickly you identify, or they identify, that it doesn't seem to be a great fit, and in fact it's so much not a great fit that they want out and they want to break contract? How do you handle that?
Oh God, Lex. Can we drink wine during these next?
I know, we're like therapy session. Let's lay down.
These are big conversations. Oh, well, I mean, we have real examples and experiences to share. So this is something we like to show you guys, our underbelly, and we're not all sunshine and roses and puppies, like Lex had mentioned. Yeah, and I think that real client situation where you don't feel like, you feel anxious with them showing up and they feel anxious about showing up, I'm of the mindset, and I think you're of the same mindset too, don't hold them hostage. Like they have done the work and they've gone through like 4 months, and then at the end of it, they're like, I haven't gotten the results and then went out. That's a very different scenario than like day one. They're like, I don't feel it. And you're like, I'm not feeling it too. Every time I see your face, I feel uncomfortable and anxious. I'm dreading you coming to these calls. Come up with a scenario that is, again, like the bless and release scenario, where it can be mutually beneficial for both of you. Maybe it's keeping their deposit and giving them certain resources, or giving them like a one-on-one coaching call with you if it's a group component, but then blessing and releasing them into the wild. We've had a few scenarios where hiccups have come up in clients' life, and again, we're not going to force you to join our program. We want to make sure that you are excited to be there because we're excited to lead you. But we also want to be mindful that like shit happens in life, and we need to respond and respect accordingly. Do you have anything to add to that, Lex?
Yeah, no, I mean, again, I echo everything. I'll talk through a few specific experiences, high level, obviously protecting names and what have you, but I think you need to allow yourself the flexibility to handle it on a case by case basis.
Totally.
It's totally okay if you decide to stick by your contract, if that's what feels right to you. It's totally okay to break your own contract in the sense of letting them out of it and giving a refund. So 2 examples I want to point to. I had one gal, this was a couple years ago, who I kind of knew, this was before I owned the power of no, that she wasn't going to be a great fit, but she was willing to, pay all the monies. And at that point, that was exciting. So I let her in. Week 1, she went through module 1. This was for the PR bar. And she came at me with one of the more ugly responses that I think I've received in my life. Unkind, putting me down, wants out of her contract. This module is terrible. Now, let me first acknowledge how many things I felt in that moment. I felt imposter syndrome. I felt put down. I felt embarrassed. I felt angry. I felt humiliated. I felt invalidated. I felt all these things. And so I had to step away and get neutral. And we've talked about this on other episodes. I didn't make a decision in that moment when I felt all those things. I stepped away. I realized, hey, Lexie, this is one bad apple. You've had many, many, many other clients who love this. How do you let's reset our nervous system and make a business decision. The decision I felt here was that my peace was not worth me arguing at all with this nasty individual any further. I refunded her fully. I didn't even want to touch it. Let her out. I handled it very professionally. She did not. Parted ways. Okay, so that was one example. Another example I want to paint is when I've let people out, but I haven't given a refund. That's another situation that has been on the table, and one we've also addressed, especially if they're on payment plans and there's been a deposit. And you kind of pointed to this, but I've handled situations where I said, look, I'm not going to refund what you've paid to date, because we have spent time together and you did lock, it took time away from my business, but I am going to send you with resources, and I will, if you want to continue to work with us, honor that. But if it's your choice to leave, it's your choice to leave. So I won't make you pay more going forward. The point being, 2 kind of takeaways here: make yourself get neutral, allow yourself to step away, let the emotions subside, and then come back and evaluate the situation and the unique situation at hand.
Lex, how can people find out how to work with us?
Super simple. Go to readysetcoachprogram.com, link in show notes.
And I think that's such a great reminder, because I definitely get angry in the moment, and it definitely hurts, and your ego is bruised, and all of the emotions. Lexie's also my business wife, so I've cried to her, or voice noted her while drinking wine, where you get a notification about something and you're like, oh my God, I'm so angry, I'm going to respond right now. And it is so important to not in that moment respond, because your response is going to be something you regret. And when you have perspective, especially when you are drinking, guys, do not respond while drinking. Just
In
rule
life,
of
to
thumb in
anything,
life.
actually.
Yes. Angry texting is not the answer. But I think, yeah, the getting neutral and then getting perspective, and also taking yourself out of the situation and letting life situations happen. Like, we've had people who have lost jobs or had breakups or had traumatic deaths in their family, and you have to navigate the reality that, like, there is more to life than our business.
Yep.
That's
It's
the
very,
truth.
very true. On the flip side, though, we also want you to know, like, it's in your right to hold firm if that feels right to you. And I think sometimes some people have legitimate reasons and others are just looking for a way out. So tune into your intuition a little bit there, and just listen to your gut. Phone a friend, if you don't have a business partner like Em and I do, feel free to give yourself this space to evaluate that. On that note, if this happens in real time, because a lot of the situations we're talking about is happening, on Slack or via email, so you have time. What do you do if it happens in real time? You still have the right to make space. And here's how I would suggest you handle that. If they come at person in real time, take a deep breath and ask for space, in the sense that, you know what, this I'm going to take a pause on this conversation. This is, we're kind of in the heat of the moment. I want to reflect, take a step back. I'm going to collect my thoughts and we'll get back to this and readdress this at a later date. But I'm going to make the call right now that we need to kind of put a pin in it, step away, and come back to it. You're allowed to have space just as much as they're allowed to be human.
Yes, I think that's an incredible thing to remember, especially in real time, because my body, I feel like, gives it away. My cheeks get red, everything, and
I start sweating.
Start sweating. Yeah, I get the nose sweat and like the mustache sweat. It's very sexy. I love it. Switching gears a little bit, Lex, how do you handle difficult client situations like billing? So you could have like a fantastic client, but you notice that their payment didn't go through and they're on a payment plan.
Yes, this is also one that Emily and I have had experience with. This is one of the times where I do put my respectful business hat on. Okay. And go through, first and foremost, I know we like to give a client a benefit of the doubt and just make them aware of the situation. If it's a credit card that failed or they're past due. First, you can also utilize systems like, if you're sending out invoices through QuickBooks, you can set reoccurring reminders so that you don't manually have to do that. But let's say they still aren't paying, then go and send them. I do suggest handling billing more formally, taking it to email, sending them an email and just kind of reminding them of the payment terms, and starting with the benefit of the doubt. Like, we just wanted to let you know this card or payment didn't come through. This is when it was due, and here are the payment terms. Let us know if you have any questions, right? So starting with the benefit of the doubt, but you also have the right, this is a business, and also leading by example, if you're coaching on anything business related, to hold them to the fact that they did sign up with you, they are using their services, you do need to get payment. What do you think? Anything to add?
I would add also, just, in best practices for your business, have it on automatic payment first and foremost. So that means charging their credit card or charging their card on file or their direct deposit on file, whatever the system is, having it happen automatically versus having them opt to pay every single month. Just thinking about yourself, like if you were doing the monthly Calendly, like, would you remember to pay Calendly every month? Shit happens, life happens. It's hard to keep on top of it. So make it automatic. That being said, a lot of times when we've had the moments of breakdown, it's typically because of maybe they had a new card or they had insufficient funds or they were at their credit card max or something like that. That's something that needs to be remedied immediately. And then if someone says like, hey, I can't pay until this date, we're empathetic and we will empathize and be like, okay, we'll move your payment date till this date. But it's kind of like the 3-strike rule, okay, hey, we moved it to this date. It still didn't work. Is there another option? Do you need it broken down into 2 payments this month instead? But don't let it slide, because it's your business and you have the integrity and every single right to get paid, especially if this person has seen results and going through your program and you have spent time and a lot of effort on them, don't drop this.
Yeah, and I'll say automatic payments is really, really great for small businesses. For those of you working with bigger businesses with accounting departments that require net 30, net 15,
Totally.
just set up automatic reminders. Do yourself a favor, make sure you understand and have the billing department. There are some times on the PR bar side where I work with larger companies where the CEO isn't even touching payment. So I make sure from day dot to have all the information of who I need to go to and communicate with in the billing department to ensure payment is received. And I work with them directly. So that's also something to capture in the onboarding process, depending on the size of client you're working with.
Yeah, I think that's a wonderful thing to think about. And then Lex, on switching gears one more time, I would think one of the things that we should talk about, and we talked about this a little bit, but what do you do if someone's not happy with the deliverables? Like they've gone through your entire program, they soaked up every single module in the PR bar, they've gone through Ready Set Coach, they've worked one-on-one, and they're like, yeah, I didn't get what I wanted out of this. How do you handle that?
First off, let's call it what it is. It's a dagger, right? You put your heart and your soul into these containers that you're building, and you have the best intention and you want people to see results. So I just want you to acknowledge that even Em and I, we have moments where it's human. On that note, I feel like this is my sticky note across every episode. Step away for a beat, calm yourself down, get neutral, and try to look objectively if you did your job. Did you show up the way that you were supposed to? Did you deliver what you were supposed to? Because the reality of coaching is you can only do so much. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. So did this client truly take all your advice? Did they follow through on their homework? Did they follow the strategy at hand, right? Go through that and evaluate and know that if you did your part, that's all you can do in coaching. You're not them. You're not on the front lines. You're not on the front lines executing. So that is just the reality of this business model. And you need to remind yourself of that. And remind them, be kind. And I always say, if someone's unhappy with seeing results, reminding them, this is how we suggest you do see results. So if you stay course, they should come.
And I'll share a personal story. I had a client who was also a friend who told me that she wasn't happy with her results. Like she wanted to be further along. She wanted more clients. And it happened in real life. So that feeling of getting neutral, I felt flabbergasted. I truly felt like someone sat on my chest, that type of feeling. I tried my hardest to stay really neutral, to stay really calm versus crying hysterically, which is what I wanted to do. And then I gave her space and I gave her time, and she came back to me. And I think she needed space and time, and it was operating from a place of scarcity and a place of like not seeing perspective. She was just so tunnel visioned and just, I need to make money. I need to make money. And she came back to me and she was like, I just want to let you know how much I accomplished with you. And it was like a whole new person had come through. And when she had taken inventory, and that was something that I also try to do in those moments is to help them navigate what they have accomplished, what they have done versus the things that they have yet to get to. And this applies to everyone that's listening. We're so quick to look forward at the next thing, at the North Star that needs to be when we fail to take inventory of what has taken place. So for this individual, she didn't have a website. She got a website. She didn't have a newsletter. Now she's sending weekly newsletters that are getting incredible open rates and responses. She's being featured in blogs. She's been on podcasts. She's hosting events. She's hosting a weekly Instagram live when before she hadn't posted a picture for like a year before we started working together. She grew her Instagram following. So taking inventory of these things that you have accomplished with your client, when in reality, sometimes the only thing that we think about is like what you did not accomplish. So making sure that you're able to spend time, get neutral, but being able to like redirect them the things that were accomplished in the container together.
Thank you for sharing that advice, that example. There's a few things I'm going to pull out of there and to remind everyone of. And when we are, as human beings, approached with a feeling of negativity or a challenge or something's going wrong, we have these reactions of either fight, flight, or fight, flight, or freeze. And what Emily just described is really a good example of fight. We look for someone to blame when something isn't going right. Think about your relationships too. Who are you quickest to get mad at? You're quickest to get mad at those closest to you. So if I am frustrated, my poor husband, hi CJ, I'm easy to snap on him and put all the blame in the world. But in reality, if I can take inventory of myself, he's usually not the root problem. Like really, if I'm mad about him not doing more chores and the house seems dirty, there's something I can do about that, right? So to bring this back to business, I think what's really smart, Emily, that you pulled out there is first recognize that they're a human and having one of those three reactions, and see if you can have them do a little bit more self-reflecting and, okay, why do you think you didn't get results? If they come back at you and said, because you didn't coach me well enough, all right, they're in fight mode. There's probably not much you can say. But if they can calm themselves down, then there might be an opportunity for them to really reflect and be like, well, you know what? I posted once on Instagram, and again, if this is a business use case and I actually am not showing up consistently, or if this is a weight loss coaching situation, have they really been drinking the 8 glasses of water a day? If you can give them space and just realize it's on them to do a little bit of self-reflecting at that point.
And yes, oh my gosh, I feel like it's funny that you pull out the word consistent. You said the word consistency. And I think a lot of times too, the pain points that people feel about a deliverable is they'll try something once and it won't work. And then they're like, yeah, it failed. It's like, okay, cool. So you posted on Instagram once. That's awesome. Oh, you did one cold outreach. That's awesome. You did one event, neat. And you sent one newsletter. And then it's the objections that they have. Oh, I don't like bothering people in their inbox, or I don't like showing up on Instagram. And so then you look back and you're pulling back the layers and you're like, the reason you're not succeeding is because you're not visible. And as much as I would love to be a mind reader and be able to be like, this is what she's doing, this is what she's offering, we don't know if you don't tell us. And consistency, I have been doing my business now since full time since 2016. My Instagram was 352 people followers on 6 Degrees Society. We're at 12,000 followers now. And do you think that's because I was just quiet? No, it was following up with people. It was showing people what we were doing. It was inviting people to follow me. It was following people. It was engaging with people. Like, it was a lot of work. It was not a passive thing. And so the biggest just like red flag kind of thing here that I am going to call out is just consistency and pointing out to clients, like, are you being consistent?
In any field, it doesn't have to be business, like
working out,
like insert category of coaching, changing habits, anything with mindset, anything. This is also something, not to get in a whole nother tangent, for you to think about it as a coach, how long it takes to support someone through transformation. Because if you're only working with them for 3 months, maybe they need 6 months, right? So just kind of, you can, again, the point here to wrap this all up in a nice pretty bow is feel confident in understanding what it is your job to do and what it's not your job to do, and where the line stops at coaching. Again, our favorite thing, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't force them to drink. On that note, as we wrap up here, I want to end on a positive, because today has been a lot of, there are going to be red flags and down moments in your business. That just further solidifies the need to celebrate the wins. And when you get the good clients and the right clients and they are crushing it, to not forget to celebrate those moments. It's so easy to cling on to the negatives and the down parts. Don't forget, or don't let those big wins pass you by.
Amen. And I think, just to add, just in terms of like listening to your body and taking inventory of your body, think of the place of expansion. When you are in a place of expansion, a place of happiness, when you have that win, that feeling in your body, maybe you get like a tingle in your chest, or you feel light and you feel airy and you feel like your shoulders are back and you just can take on the world, versus the feeling of a client that's rejected you, or a client that said no, or a client that said something negative. It feels very constrictive. Remember the expansive feeling and try to always operate from that place. Even if you are going through a period of constriction, it's just going to feel, you'll be able to overcome these challenges that much more. And so, yes, Lex, 1,000% agree. Operate from those positives, guys. You're going to be more magnetic.
And take a moment to celebrate them. And don't forget that. My husband always says, you cling on to the negatives, don't forget the positives. And God, he's right.
TJ, come join us.
No, I can't believe I admitted that. So, guys, until next time on the Ready
Set Coach
podcast.
Bye, guys. If you're enjoying the Ready Set Coach podcast, please leave a review wherever you are listening. For more information about Ready Set Coach, visit readysetcoachprogram.com.